melt on this, but measuring cups are convenient for this, and you know, I can also, just because I've done this so much, I kind of have a general idea, so this will probably take about, the thing is, it has a lot to do with how tight the stone fits in, and not just the size of the opening, so this will probably take about 3 or 4 cups. So again, this stuff, when it comes like this, it's all set to go, just like it says, just add water. You do have to stir it. And the amount of water is, I have to carefully measure it. It's something I would guesstimate like a 1 to 4 ratio. In other words, like if we put in 4 cups of dry, probably only 1 cup of water. But I don't know. It's by eye. And there is a variability. There always is. You'll read that anywhere you read anything about making mortar. You want this mortar to be a little wetter than you normally would make a mortar because we want this to really seat itself. This is unpigmented. This actually comes in colors, but for what you're doing, generally this is good. So it's going to dry to be a slightly off-white. It's not going to be a pure white. It'll look like a pure white compared to a brown, but it is not a pure white. And that's because of the color of the NHL, the natural cement in it. So there's no Portland cement in this. We're going to load it up. So, like I said, I like to scratch it in a little bit. Okay, then we don't want to go too thick here. So then I'm going to run it right up the sides like this, so we get good adhesion. I'll probably have to mix up a little more after the point. I mean, it'll clean right off if we don't smear it in. But also, this doesn't stain like Portland cement does anyway. It's much more forgiving. So we can put this here. So we'll go on edge again. These are really dirty. Okay, and then we'll go up. And then we'll walk it over. So that, because if it's heavier, it's fine. So that you don't have to lift it. See what I mean? And then to straighten it, if it's bigger, you can do this kind of thing. And walk it into place. But this is not that heavy, so I'm just going to lift it into place. Okay, so you get it to seat itself. We'll try to get it fairly even so there is some margin around it. In other words, we don't... That's pretty good. So now we can get rid of this and this. And so usually, because front to back is really easy, so usually they do the edges first. And really close. Let's go this way just tight. Perfect. Yeah. That's dead on right there. And then so I usually bring these in then, and I'll go like, okay, see about where I need, then I'll plant the point, and then rest this in like that. Then
the other side's going to be harder to do.
Okay, thank you.
With that stone there.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. And then we'll go. Sorry, there we go. That's it. You just move. That's right. Yep. So we just relax that, sway it a little. Yeah. Solid. That's it. Well, now we have to finish pointing. So the two tools that you need the most is a margin trowel. This is a 6 by 2. This is a tuck pointer. This is 3/8. These are the most 2 standard tools you need for this type of thing. I draw the excess moisture out now. I'm going to hit both sides because it's going to puddle. I want it to puddle up like that because then you get a good seat. But then it's too wet, and so then I'm going to drive this in to draw out the moisture. Okay, just like so. And on the edge too. Hit it quick. We can go back and forth. You can make a Portland cement-based thing yourself, and so it would be more like a Type O mortar. And so a Type O mortar, So it would be more like a 129, and so it's only 1 part Portland cement, 2 parts hydrated lime, 9 parts sand. That's called an O mortar. An N mortar is a 116. N mortar is going to be a bit strong. So there's more than one. There's many different ways you can make mortar.
You got that in that folder?
There's a whole folder about this particular product,
Good.
and I don't have anything specifically about making an O mortar, but you could punch
just that product.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is all set to go. The reason why, the other thing is, to mix a Portland cement yourself, you got to buy a bag of that, a bag of hydrated lime, and then the right kind of sand, and then you have 3 giant bags, and it doesn't last forever. It goes bad if you don't use it. So even it lasts longer if you put it in if you sealed plastic bag or a bucket with a tight lid, but it still doesn't last forever. So okay, that's not bad. So now we're going to come in and we're going to add more. So normally kind of like this type of deal. Put the tool up to it like this and work it in. You don't want to over tool it. You want to work it in the joint. This is a very narrow joint, so it's tight to get material in. A lot of time it'll be more like a 1/4 inch on each side or something. So that would be much more sloppy. There'd be a lot of slack. This is tight. So work it in like that, and it starts to come up to the surface. And where was that big loss? Right there? I think so. I think most of it already filled in, but we'll make sure that it's pointed up nice. It's starting to get a little wet up here again, so I'll just draw a little out. And so what I'll do at the end is I'll put a bevel on it, so that the finish, it's a wash, it's actually called, so that it adds a little more strength and a little more protection, and it could wear away eventually and there'll still be mortar under it. Still a little wet, so I always go back and forth like this. And you can it's easy to dry it if you just have a paper towel or a rag. And so it's good to try not to smear it, and because especially if it's white on brown. We can clean it after, but oh yeah, this particular stuff we used, this comes in coarse and fine, and this is fine. So that's the only real option. This is unpigmented fine.